You don't need to spend your life as a grown man crying about another man's possessions.
Nope.
Work hard, brother. Get your own possessions. Society is big enough for you to win. But a lot of times, and you know what it is, Deke, a lot of times these are questions rooted in insecurity, envy, and laziness. If somebody just put a car in my lap rather than me having to go and buy one, rather than me having to get up and work every single day, wouldn't it be just so much easy? Hey, here you go. Here's the keys to the house.
Fatality.
Everything in this life, you got to work for it. A virtuous woman is no different. Go ahead, D.
Permission to speak?
Absolutely.
I got to say this, because I was saying this to Elder Yakin earlier for the class. You know, they'll say, hey, 1 in 3 men are sexless. You know, how can other brothers have multiple wives? Well, I can say this about True Spirit of Christ. 1 in 3 men ain't over no teams, but ain't none of y'all saying, hey, Elder Yakin, let me have one of the 2 teams that you're over. Hey, Chief Elder Uzziah, let me take one of those 5 to 10 teams that you're running within the congregation. They'll say all of that, you know, when it comes to a woman. When it comes to doing this work, y'all sit at home, y'all don't say nothing, and you're good with being a man with no work within this truth.
And then you wonder why you go without.
Fatality.
I'm telling you, how we have fallen as men. And you wonder why so many of the women don't want you.
Women to date and mate with men who are less desirable to them. I mean, neither of those things.
So again, he said he said there's 2 ways. There's going to be 2 consequences that comes from this. One, you're going to see social groups created who will essentially try to force women to not strive for success. So many women now are outpacing men professionally that you're going to see now an uprising of groups that say, no, woman, stay dumb. Stay stupid so that way I can stay first.
Bruh.
And this is the posture you want us to take? Now, mind you, wisdom is the principal thing. There's always a balance. So we've done numerous classes about how a woman should not prioritize career over family, seeing as though many women who do pursue career ultimately want family as key. But we have no law to say, oh, lady, just sit at home, do nothing, eat bonbons, so that way your husband can be the breadwinner earning minimum wage.
Fatality.
That's the first consequence that comes from this. The second consequence is you're going to have guys that cry and say, hey, sister, that wants this kind of man. No, don't want that man anymore.
Nope.
Go against your nature as a woman and go and deal with this kind of man. Again, I'm going to let the doctor tell it to you, because when my black behind do the talking, you don't believe me. These are impractical solutions, especially to a woman's nature. And we've got to see that neither of these 2 options, although there may be certain strands of practice behind them, neither one of these is dealing with the issue head on. What is the issue head on?
Things are going to happen. So to be honest, the best solution that I can come up with is to really support men. Like to support men with at least as much vigor and enthusiasm as we currently support women. so that the pool of desirable men continues to grow rather than shrink for many years to come. You can be the judge of how likely that.
Wow. What a strange idea. Make men better men.
Fatality.
No, guys. Let's not get better. Let's sit up and cry about how women are the problem.
Nope.
You don't see this out of other thriving nations of people. When you look at thriving nations of people, they're not looking at the woman and casting blame for all the problems. Men have to be men. This is nothing new. From the beginning of time, women have wanted men who could provide, protect, and give them security. They are biologically hardwired to seek that out. Okay, according to biology, when a woman looks for a man, she ponders if a man is a capable suitor. So that way, when that man impregnates her, he's able to provide her and their child with resources. So if we're talking about thousands of years ago, okay, do you have the strength to protect me from a tiger? Because it's not always so privileged like it is in the modern world. You needed a man that could protect you and kill if necessary. You needed a man that could provide resources, especially in the ancient world where the possibility for a woman to provide herself was far less likely. Now, I just got a question. Is it possible, men, that after all of these generations, many of our sisters today who share the DNA of the sisters from way back then, they still have a hard wiring? My man needs to be better than me.
Fatality.
I need somebody who can put a roof over my head. I need somebody who can make better decisions than I can. Is it possible that that is still how a woman's mind works? If yes, then that means that when these women get out in society and you give them jobs, you give them career, you give them all of these things that they fought so hard for, does that now create a dynamic where they're actually looking for men who have accomplishments that surpasses theirs? This means that we as men have to get better. And whether a woman could get a job or not, that's always what we were supposed to do. Even if a woman couldn't add 2 + 2, men are supposed to get better. We're supposed to strive. We're supposed to sacrifice. We're supposed to grow. But in America, everybody gets a trophy culture. We're living in a day and age where men think the way that you get something out of life is by crying.
Fatality.
And that has never been the case. So rather than crying about other men like our forefather King David, like our forefather Abraham, like our forefather Gideon, who are all righteous men, instead of crying about their lifestyle and how the Most High blessed them, what we focus on as a nation, as a church within this nation, is to train men to be as competent and as proficient as they possibly can be, so that way they don't have to cry about not getting a woman. They can pick and choose. Now, that leads us to our first message to single men wanting to marry a virtuous woman. Stop crying and start working. If you want an attractive, hardworking woman, brothers, guess what you have to be? Psalm chapter 128, verse 1.
Psalm chapter 128, verse 1.
Because here's how brothers think. Going back to what you said, Deacon. Oh, but what if, I'm the behind the scenes brother? What if I live in Zimbabwe and none of the women in the truth are around?
Bruh.
Once upon a time, a man was strong enough to where he would find a way to get things done. He didn't go through life with a welfare mentality where you always need a handout. You know, all of us that are here, were you born in Leander, Texas?
No, sir.
I wasn't born in Leander, Texas.
Nope.
We all got here because we had to work. We had to put ourselves in a position for this thing to happen. But a lot of you brothers now, it's like you just want life just handed to you on a silver platter. You want Sarah handed to you. You want Sarah to just knock on your door. Here I am. Shalom, king. It doesn't work that way.
Nope.
Even when it came to Abraham, in all of his riches, he still had to send a servant out to where the women fellowship. He still had to send a servant out. Hey, we got to go and look for the woman. Isaac's wife is not just going to fall in our lap. So if that wasn't the case for Abraham and his son, what makes you think it's going to be the case for you?